Welcome to Dastarkhan-e-Ramzan. Today I will be telling the story of the day the sun didn't set. This is a very famous incident which I have described in this book. After Musa left Egypt, that is Moses, the Bani Israel wandered for 40 years in the desert. This was their punishment for disobeying God and His commands. Musa died in the barren and scorching land of Atti, and Yusha took over the leadership of the tribes. They lived in Atti for 7 more years. After Musa passed away, Yusha was guided by God to lead his people out of the barren desert into Syria and to settle in Egypt. Yusha led them into Syria and subdued the people there. He then proceeded towards Baalbek, present-day Lebanon, which was ruled by a powerful king by the name of Balak. Balaam bin Ba'ur, a saintly man who was a follower of Prophet Musa, lived in the city. He knew Allah's greatest name, Isme-Azam, and whenever he invoked it, his prayers were answered. King Balak went to him for help and said, "You are close to God. Please pray that we can defeat the enemy." Balaam said, "Yusha is a prophet, and he and his army have been sent by God. How can I curse them or pray against their victory? You should all accept the religion of Prophet Moses." Balak refused and said, "We will never accept the faith of Musa, and if you refuse to pray for us, we will crucify you." Balaam was shaken but refused to be intimidated into praying for what he felt was wrong. Balaam had a beautiful wife whom he adored. The king decided to influence Balaam through her. He bribed her with a huge amount of money. She tried to persuade him, but Balaam could not bring himself to pray for the king. However, to please his wife, he gave her a suggestion. He said, "Tell the king to send young girls into Yusha's army to distract his soldiers. That way they lose the battle." King Balak gathered many beautiful women who were adept at ensnaring men and sent them into Yusha's army. However, his soldiers had already endured 40 years of wanderings in barren lands for their transgressions and could not be distracted from the path of the promised land. All the wiles of the women sent by Balak came to naught. Balaam's wife was disappointed and arm twisted him, saying that if he was not willing to pray for the king's success, he should divorce her. Balaam was hopelessly in love with his young and beautiful wife. He retreated into his room to pray for the king. He barely set foot inside when 2 huge animals attacked him. He came out, ashamed of his action, and said, "O wife, let this be. How will I ever face my Lord after cursing his prophet with defeat?" His wife was adamant and refused to listen, asking him to divorce her as he obviously did not care for her happiness. Balaam was distraught. He left home on a donkey towards a retreat in the wilderness, where he decided he would pray for the king's victory. He had just gone a little way when the donkey stood still. Balaam hit it with a stick, but the donkey refused to move. Thinking that its refusal to move was a sign from God, Balaam decided to return home. Before he could turn back, Shaitan appeared before him in the form of a man. Shaitan, Satan. "Oh Balaam, you were on the right path. Why have you turned back?" asked Shaitan. "This donkey is refusing to move, and perhaps it is a sign that I should desist from praying against God's prophet." "I know it would be wrong to do so," said Balaam. Shaitan said, "That was not a donkey, but Shaitan. Can donkeys advise you against good or evil? You should pray for the king, and once Yusha's army is defeated, it is you who will rule. Everyone will know that they won because of you. You can even invite them to your faith, and after that, and they will accept it. You will become their prophet." Balaam was very impressed by this logic. It made sense to him, and he turned towards the mountain. But once again, the donkey refused to move despite severe beatings with the stick. An enraged Balaam, already struggling with his conscience, beat the animal to death and proceeded to his retreat on foot. He prayed for the success of King Balak's army in the next battle, and Yusha's army was soon facing defeat. Yusha got down from his horse and prayed to God, "O Lord of the universe, we have besieged the city for 6 months in hope of victory. Our defeat and their victory today is with your will." A voice came to Yusha. "Yusha, there is a man in this community who knows our Isme-Azam, Allah's greatest name, which is known only to a few. We have blessed him with the acceptance of every supplication that he makes. invoking that name. He prayed for your defeat using the name, and that is why you are facing defeat. Yusha prostrated himself on the earth and prayed, O Lord, take away that knowledge from him, for he is using it. He stayed in this position till it was revealed to him that Balaam had been deprived of the knowledge of the Isme Azam and its miraculous powers. Yusha went into battle the next day, which was a Friday. A fierce fight followed. King Balak's troops had tasted victory the day before and believed it was because of their bravery and efforts. They refused to give in easily. Soon it was almost evening, but there was no certain outcome. The next day was Saturday, the Sabbath, and a day of rest. This meant that there would be no fighting. Yusha was apprehensive that the enemy would gain on him and he would not be able to retaliate. He looked at the sun and said, O sun, you have your orders and I have mine. He lifted his hand and prayed, O God, please don't let the sun set just yet. Lengthen the day by 2 more hours. His prayer was heard. The sun did not set for the next 2 hours. Yusha's army had gained victory.